So we are going to be going through the basics of Photoshop today. I'm going to be showing you where some of the essential tools you're going to be using, but essentially how this is going to be working is each assignment that you do is going to teach you a couple more tools and a different couple techniques. Now, we're not going to get super advanced with Photoshop because honestly, they redo Photoshop every single year and they change the way that they can do it. They add stuff, they take away stuff. So it would be foolish of me to try and teach you all the different things that Photoshop can do because honestly, we'd be here for years. But ultimately, I'm going to give you the things that typically do not change and that you can use throughout any future Photoshop classes or jobs that you might have. There's about 15, 20 different ways to do everything and achieve the same effect. So I'm teaching you the very basics. If you would choose to go into a career in this or go to school for this, they're going to teach you different ways that might work better for them, but they're essentially the same. So the things that I'm going to teach you are the things that are the basics. If you know this, you'll always use this. So you guys will have responsibilities of teaching yourself different techniques. And as the semester goes on and we get to the point where you are teaching yourself your own techniques, you are going to be writing those things up, and then you are going to be doing demonstrations of how to do those techniques so we can share those ideas. But to begin with, you should have a screen that looks like this essentially, but you probably don't have anything on here. These are all projects that I've done in the past. They give you quick references so you can pull them up. Before you begin any project, you need to consider what you are making the project for. We are making projects specifically for print, which means that we're going to make it on the computer and we are going to send it to a printer and we're going to have a hard copy. Now, this is also made for if you are going to make backgrounds for a website or augmenting pictures for Instagram or whatever have you. So depending on what you are going to use this for, you need to figure that out before you even start. So looking at this, I have all these customs. So you can label these and title these different things, but these are just different sizes of paper and prints that I have done. So this is an 8 by 11, 72 pixels, so that's a regular size sheet of paper. This is a 12 by 18, which is that poster size over there. And I've had a couple of other projects that I've had to blow up really big. So these are all presets. Once you create it once, you'll have those quick access tabs to open that up every time. You guys probably have nothing up there right now. So if you have not done this already, please, I'll go through that with you. So we're going up to File, click New. You're going to get this window popping up, and then we're going to focus over here. So you guys should not have anything in there yet. If you do, that's great. So on your meme project learning Photoshop basics, right here I have all the things written out for you, the basic stuff. So we're going to go up here, and that should say 8.5, so you can change that. So 8.5 is how wide it's going to be. Over here, we are dealing with inches because we're in America and we haven't adopted the metric system. So this is what I was talking about before. If you want to do online stuff for websites or for Instagram or anything, you're going to want to deal with pixels instead, because the internet is measured in pixels. It does not know what an inch or a centimeter is. So because we are printing, we're going to go to inches. And our printers in America, for the most part, measure in inches. So if you click on centimeters, you'll get some weird things happening because they will look at them as inches sometimes, and then all the dots for the picture will be all spread out and wonky. So your width is 8.5, your height is 11. Now, if you want it portrait, that's what it's set up for right now. See how the blue's highlighted? It's telling you which orientation it's going to be. So if you want to switch that, you can just go over and click the landscape and it'll switch these two numbers for you. So otherwise, it'll tell you if you type this in which direction it's going to be, which is very helpful because some people put them in the wrong order because they're just not thinking. And then they'll see that which blue box is highlighted, and then you'll know which way it is. Our highest resolution in our printers in this school are 72 pixels per inch, which is pretty decent, but it can go up to hundreds. So under resolution, you're going to put 72, and this is pixels per inch. So a pixel, if you don't know, is a dot. And so we can fit 72 dots in 1 inch, which is kind of impressive when you think about it. When you look at Minecraft, essentially a pixel is an inch. You know, they make 1 pixel very big, and that's why it looks so blocky. When you talk about 8-bit video games like back from Nintendo age, they only had a few pixels that were really big. Nowadays, we have like thousands of pixels per square inch, and you can make it very high resolution. But for our media purposes, we're going to stay at 72 pixels per inch. So again, make sure it's pixels per inch, not per centimeter. Otherwise, you're going to have some really weird things happening. Next, we've got the different types of color. So I recommend do never start in grayscale, because once you're in Photoshop, you can switch it over to grayscale, but if you start with grayscale, it's very difficult to switch it back to color. So the two that we're going to be focusing on the most are RGB and CMYK. RGB is red, green, blue. This is a basic printer. So what's really weird is with it being the basic printer, they give you a lot more options with what you can do with your pictures. Whereas the CMYK is a very specialized, higher quality type of printer typically. So CMYK is cyan, magenta, yellow, and K is essentially means black. So you can use CMYK, but you have less options. So what I always recommend is start with RGB, and if you need to print in CMYK, you can change that layer. That way you have all the options. When you do switch from RGB to CMYK or vice versa, there is going to be some wonkiness in the colors. The bit rate, you can go higher. That has to do a lot with what the printer is capable of. Most printers, again, that it's just like the color. The higher the bit rate, the more it can print, the more information the printer can handle. So if you have a really expensive, really in-depth printer, it'll print bigger pieces, more depth, and faster. But most printers really hover around an 8-bit. So if you do that, it's gonna, again, limit the options that you have on here, and it'll make your printer get a little upset at you, and it'll start chewing up paper and spitting ink at you and trying to eat your life. So, yeah, so stick at 8-bit. The last part is the background color, which really doesn't matter too much. I usually just keep it white. You can make it black, whatever. So after you have this stylized set, you can click create, and it'll start a new sheet for you. Now, next time you open this, that custom will be up there, and you'll just be able to click that to start with. So make sure that all your parameters match what is up here. So once you have this, you can click create. So this is my basic sheet of paper. So essentially, if you held up a regular sheet of paper, that's it. So this is your workspace. And one thing that I need to elaborate right now is you are dealing with layers. So think third grade cutting out construction paper and gluing it down. That's what this is, just on a very much more complex level. So these are your basic tools over here. This is the hotkey / toolbar. So the hotkey is this. So if I want to use this tool, I can hit the letter I. And if I keep hitting I, it will cycle through all these tools. If I want the crop tool, I can hit C. But if I want the slice tool, I might have to hit C 3 times. All of these tools are located under these tools. So if you go to your regular toolbar, anything that's got this little gray arrow on, if you left click and hold, you'll get this drop down menu, and then this will show you all the things under that tool. So this sheet that I've given you shows where all those tools are. So if you're searching for a tool and you can't find it, you can quick reference this and it'll show you where that tool is located under the tools.
Do more, do better.